Observation 1, Inherency. A. Military commission acts will be overturned back in 2006. President Bush signed yesterday rules that allow tougher irrigation but chair specific as well military-side courts. With the dilemma of the men are intelligence officials believe organizing the murder of nearly 3,000 innocent people will face justice. However, trials not expected anytime soon. Similarly, to predict the military commission will be struck down by U.S. courts that think separates America from amnesty that are commitments to fairness and the rule of law. But the bill signed today is a historic break because it turns Guantanamo Bay and other U.S. facilities into legal no man's land. B. Only Supreme Court resolved the habeas tribute provision of the MCA Hatchland 06. Amara Street is doing the 4th Circuit on November 13th, but once the president signed the military commission act, the court may no longer have jurisdiction to hear because the Constitution said that habeas right can be suspended. All persons are entitled to the equal protection under the law. Just to see Amara would trigger a conflict between Constitution and new law, a conflict the own Supreme Court could resolve. Thus, we offer the following plan. The next available task is the United States Supreme Court should overrule the decision ex parte here 317 U.S. 1 1942 by ruling that withdrawal of detained habeas corpus rights is constitutional, thus rendering Section 7 of the Military Commissions Act of 2006 as 3930 Constitution enforcement guarantee. Any questions asked? Solvency. The plan overturned secure the Military Commissions Act explicitly overturned the habeas provision of the Kira decision later by 06. The habeas defendant's new Section 7 is worth noting one thing about the breadth of the habeas tribute provision that is thus far receiving accurate attention in the public debate. That provision will limit the right to a petition for habeas for all alien enemy commands, no matter where they're detained. Provision therefore would appear to overrule the recent result decision, which recognized habeas rights to detainees at Guantanamo, but also the rights in a World War II case of Kira and Mashida, which dealt with the alien detainees U.S. and the occupant insular possessions respectively. And you see the court rejecting the president's assertion that he could deny the detainees' right to challenge the Gallant Military Commission proceedings initiated by writ of habeas corpus secured, and the president's proclamation of the fact that their enemy aliens were close consideration by the courts of petition for contention, that the Constitution, the laws of the United States Constitution, and act to forbid their trial by military commissions. If Section 7 new draft legislation had been in place in 1942 and 1946, if such a withdrawal of habeas rights in the Constitution, which remains an unresolved question, the courts would never have been able to discuss the merits of questions presented in Kira and Yamashita, the habeas tribute provision would be a much more dramatic repudiation of traditional laws and habeas rights than that has been commonly acknowledged. Petro-Euro advantage. A. Lack of habeas rights and judicial review for detainees, the centerpiece of growing rift in Saudi-U.S. relation, LG 804. The detention of Saudi nationals in Guantanamo have generated widespread negative public reaction in Saudi Arabia. The detentions are adversely affecting many aspects of Saudi relations with Americans, including business and commercial dealings, by giving the Guantanamo detainees the rights under U.S. law treatment as prisoner of war and the Geneva Convention. The U.S. has altered perception of Saudi citizens of U.S. commitment to human rights and principles of due process with an indefinite confinement of Saudi nationals in Guantanamo without protection of law. The historic history of friendship between people, Saudi Arabia and the United States continue to suffer. Negative Saudi perception of the situation, Guantanamo cannot be easily dismissed when these same perceptions are shared by U.S. courts. The U.S. courts of appeals in the Ninth Circuit recently characterized U.S. government position as inconsistent with fundamental tenets of American jurisprudence. The court described the current situation as potentially allowing unchecked authority to imprison indefinitely any persons, for instance, included in the territory and its jurisdiction and control of the United States without permitting such person the recourse of any kind of judicial forum. One reason that families of Saudi detainees have advocated the detainees be repatriated for interrogation, criminal proceeding, and punishment in accordance with the Islamic laws, not because the judgment by Saudi court would be more readily accepted by Saudi people, including the families of detainees. A verdict by the Shari court would prevent justice or misunderstanding by the families citizens of the kingdom, and justice may not be fairly administered for settlement which can often occur in critical trust, even in such as it is very difficult to expect any country to accept the legal judgment of another if the government of the other country is free to do with foreign nationals as well when it pleases without any compliance with any rule of law of any kind, without permitting him to consult causa, without acknowledging any judicial forum in which his action may be challenged. B. Saudi Arabia is the key to OPEC's petrodollar policy, Go KO6. 1972 to 1974, the U.S. government concluded a series of agreements with Saudi Arabia known as the U.S.-Saudi Arabian Joint Economic Commission to provide technical support and military assistance to the power of Saudi in exchange for accidental U.S. dollars for its oil. It mentioned that this understanding provides Saudi ruling family security craved in a dangerous neighborhood while assuring the U.S. a reliable and very important ally in OPEC. Saudi Arabia, as the largest oil producing leader of OPEC, is also the only member of cartels that have a lot of production quota. It's a swing producer, meaning that it can increase or decrease oil production, bring oil withdrawal, or blend the world market. As a result of the situation, Saudi Arabia practically determines oil prices. So after the agreement with Saudi government, the OPEC agreement accepted since all oil has been traded in U.S. dollars, and so oil standard became the dollar standard C. Saudi Arabia has the keys to a petro-euro switch within OPEC. Geopolitical risks risk a large petro-euro switch. Islamo 3. At various points in the early 1970s, oil producers have discussed this opinion of tended to be right-ranging, dependent on strategic and trade alliances certain members have with particular trade blocks. The Saudis are holding the line on oil prices. The OPEC should, for example, go along with the rest of OPEC people and demanding that oil be priced in euros. That would deal with the very heavy blow to the American economy. Lastly, your former U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia to a committee of the U.S. Congress, one of the major things that Saudis have historically done, part of our friendship with the United States is that oil continue to be priced in dollars. Therefore, U.S. Treasury can print money and buy oil, which is an advantage no other country has. With the emergence of other currency and with the strain of relationship, I wonder whether there will not again be, as there have been in past people in Saudi Arabia who raise the question why they should be so kind to the United States. D. The shift away from the American dollar to the petro-euro would collapse the ability for U.S. to wage stock in all wars. Nova KO3. Military aggression by the Bush government has had very negative repercussions on the role of the Muslim world and older Europe to have something very much in common opposition to the American policy of preemption, and Europe's obvious sympathies for the Palestinian cause and further integration of them so that the Arab world also be economically prudent for OPEC to change to euro reserves, and euro will be safer in the long run because the European Union does not run up trading deficits like the United States does, and it does not massively borrow from foreign lenders like the United States government. The Europeans and the Muslim world cannot stop the United States military moves by Washington. Would not be able to stop American aggression by destabilizing the American dollar, which would effectively put a halt to Washington's policy of armed aggression after abetting occupied countries. A very expensive proposition collapse in the dollar will make it impossible for the United States to finance a military capable of shock and awe. Syria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Libya, Egypt, and even Pakistan on the list of war makers in Washington's defense system, anti-American feelings in Western Europe. I didn't read E. Continued Saudi support of the petrodollar central to unlimited military spending, go KO6. Oil is not just the most important commodity traded internationally, it's the key industrial mineral without which no modern economy works. If you don't have oil, you have to buy it. If you want to buy it in the world market, you have to purchase it with dollars. Other countries buy and hold dollars, they can buy and hold gold because they cannot purchase oil without dollars. One of the major things Saudis have historically done is to insist that oil continue to price in dollars. Therefore, U.S. Treasury can print money and buy oil, which is the advantage no other country has. The system of U.S. dollars acting as global reserve currency in order to keep the demand for oil dollar artificially high. This enables U.S. to carry out printing dollars at the price of next to nothing fund, increase military spending. Research and development is going toward mini-nuclear development. Mather 03. The administration is considering developing a generation of small nuclear weapons known as mini-nukes. They include nuclear bunker busters, heavy missile-like bombs with hardened noses that penetrate the ground before exploding. Indication that the Bush administration wants to start building nuclear weapons again after a lengthy pause surface last year when it produced a nuclear posture review. The first comprehensive analysis of nuclear weapons strategies for 10 years in which it argued for the right to use nuclear weapons first against non-nuclear states breaking a taboo that existed throughout the Cold War. Mini-nukes caused the Chinese, Pakistani, Indian nuclear war. Mather 03. The new mini-nukes blow a distinction between nuclear and conventional weapons because their explosive power is smaller, making it easier to take a political decision to use them. They also argue that if the U.S. manages a test bed treaty, countries such as China, Pakistan, and India will also start testing again, increasing the risk of a regional nuclear war. Mini-nuke development means Russia will keep its tactical nuclear weapons and service other risks include proliferation, terrorists, and all a strategic big-time nuclear war. Miller 01. The development of these bunker buster weapons would jeopardize U.S. security, would give a further incentive to Russia to cling to its own extremely problematic tactical nuclear arsenal. It would compel other countries to embark upon their own programs and increase the perceived need to join the nuclear club. The small size and portability of these weapons would increase their vulnerability to that by non-nuclear states and potential nuclear terrorists. And if the United States used the weapons against a nuclear power or an ally of nuclear power, it would be toying with all-out nuclear war. Bush will use mini-nuclear weapons against Korea and China as a first strike weapon. Mather 03. Among situations discussed in which the United States would engage in the first use of nuclear weapons were in North Korea's attack on South Korean military confrontation of the status of Taiwan. The review argued for developing mini-nukes to support such a strategy was coupled with a great request to Congress for dollars of $70 million to study new types of nuclear weapons. The preemptive war doctrine will push the U.S. to develop space weapons. Chomsky 03. In the wake of U.S. war on Iraq, there is a growing fear of U.S. power, which is considered to be the greatest threat to peace and invention of the world. Fear of U.S. government is not based solely on their major, but on background from which it rises. The openly announced goes free on the challenge of power position and pursuit of the United States to challenge now and in the future, and any time that emerge will be met with overwhelming force that rules of countries that now apparently outpace the rest of the world. Combined on means of violence is forging new and very dangerous paths over unanimous position. Development lethal weapons in space. A U.S. Sino-space race increases the chances of miscalculation. Martel and Yoshihara 03. Strategists in the United States and China are clearly monitoring in others' developments in space how the United States shows Chinese interventions and capabilities will determine Washington's responses. Of course, the reverse is equally true as each side eyes the other the potential for mutual misperceptions to have serious and destabilizing consequences in the long run. In particular, both countries' exaggerated views of each other could lead to unnecessary competitive action-reaction cycles. U.S. Sino-space attacks to collapse the global economic infrastructure will prelude a larger U.S.-Sino conflict. Martel and Yoshihara 03. What would a bilateral space race look like? If Washington and Beijing could increasingly hold each other's space infrastructure hostage by threatening to use military options in times of crisis, then potentially risky paths of preemption could emerge in the policy plan and process of both capitals. In preparing for a major contingency in the Taiwan Strait, both the United States and China might be compelled to plan for a disabling attack on the other space systems. If Beijing and Washington were to position themselves to ram each other, the two sides would enter an area of mutual hostility, one that might include destabilizing hair-triggered defensive postures in the states where both sides stand by to launch a first strike. Imagine Washington's reaction to China's able use of missiles, warning satellites, or vice versa. In that case, Sino-U.S. relations would be highly vulnerable to the misinterpretation and miscalculation that would lead to a conflict in space. Attacks against space assets will likely be a precursor to a complement to a broader conflict. The economic cost of conflict in space alone for both sides and for the international community would be extraordinary, given that the many states depend on satellites for their economic well-being. Since the collapse of U.S. primacy is inevitable, Europe has enough hard power and soft power to fill the gap. You want unipolar, you got it EU style, 905. Europe is not likely to soon become a military equal of the U.S., but isn't enough sticks and carrots to produce significant hard power. The U.S. ability to get others to do what they would not otherwise do in addition, Europe's culture, value, and success of EU have produced a good deal of soft power, the ability to attract rather than merely coerce. It's the only option. U.S. attempts to regain its primacy unilaterally will alienate other powers and make their scenarios true. Trend 03. The American era is liable of the rise of alternative centers of power in a difficult and definite U.S. internationally will ensure that it comes undone as this new century progresses with profound geopolitical consequences. I read up till here for this card.
So, like, not even the first sentence then? Yeah, first sentence in there, she said. Alright, so that card's scratched, I guess. Alright,
We did read the top.
oh yeah.
Do you know what you want?
Yeah. Alright, so based upon your B scenario on, I guess that was your advantage petro, say the shift away from the American dollar to the petro euro would collapse the ability for U.S. to wage shock more. So you're saying U.S. hegemonic power is bad, correct?
Right.
And you're saying that the U.S. collapse of the U.S. economy is key, right? To collapsing our heads, right? Like that's the link story in this?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, and so why would Saudi Arabia, like you have your 1, 2, 3. Your fifth card, Saudi Arabia is key to leading to a global use of the petrodollar. Why is Saudi Arabia key?
Well, because they basically control oil, and if they say, oh, you know what, we want to use EU, then you basically...
And oil is this infinite resource that we're going to have for the next 100 years.
No, it's not infinite.
So then, once oil runs out, Saudi Arabia means nothing, right?
Yeah.
So once oil runs out, you basically, there's nothing good happening to your case, right?
No, you would still have U.S. hedge.
Okay.
Like if you still use the dollar.
Well, then since then when Saudi Arabia collapses, because there's no more oil, wouldn't the U.S. hedge reemerge then?
We would place the EU in power, so how does Saudi Arabia collapse?
Okay, yeah, you say, you claim in your second to last card before the scratched card, so I guess third to last card.
Okay.
You read was that tag was U.S. Collapse is inevitable, however Europe will be able to sustain the world economy. Where was the uniqueness that the U.S. collapse is inevitable?
I think...
Like apart from your scenario of Saudi being in control. This wasn't the card.
Oh,
I don't have it with me, it was just...
That's fine. I can read a card for you. And then
Well,
also.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our argument pretty much the dollar.
Okay,
the
just
dollar
pretty much
collapse is also inevitable.
to me that
Because
was
it's
just the
unstable
war.
and like,
And then that
because we
Europe
have
can
such huge
sustain.
trading deficits.
Oh really? Which card was that?
That was, what was it, Nova KO3.
Yeah, but where's the tag? Like,
It's that one right there, D.
oh, D?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's here.
It's D.
Yeah, it says, let's see. It would be economically prudent for OPEC to change the euro, let's see. European Union does not run up trading deficits like the United States.
Okay, that's fine. When Reagan used Military Commissions Act, how did he use them? He used them to suspend habeas corpus, correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so when Bush originally decided to use military commissions, didn't he suspend the use of habeas corpus?
The Military Commissions Act just now, like the one he just passed.
Yeah, so aren't you overruling Military Commissions Act's not queering?
No, we're
Why not?
We're
upholding
upholding
the
the-
Military
So
Commissions
you're
Act.
upholding queering, correct?
No.
No, we're overruling Kieran through upholding the Military Commissions Act.
Military Commissions Act, you said, okay, that's fine. A little bit of prep, 1 second.